My dear friends, have you ever wondered why sometimes the people we love the most, the ones we thought would always be with us, suddenly become distant? Why can't we meet them anymore? Is it destiny? Is it their choice? Or is it simply the way life unfolds? Life has a strange way of teaching us through separation. Sometimes it's a physical distance, sometimes it's emotional silence, and sometimes it's forever. But in every form of distance, there lies a lesson for our growth, our patience, and our self-respect. When someone we love walks away, we feel broken, we feel incomplete, but actually, life is gently whispering to us, don't depend entirely on people, depend on yourself. Don't only seek love outside, nurture love inside. Let us reflect together today on this question. Why can't we meet the ones we love anymore? And what can we learn from it? Life's impermanence is one of the hardest truths for us to accept. We all know it in theory. We see the sun rise and set, we watch flowers bloom and then wither, we notice the seasons changing around us. And yet, when it comes to people, the ones we love, the ones who are the very heartbeat of our lives, we somehow expect them to remain unchanged, untouched by time, and always within our reach. But life, my friends, does not work that way. Impermanence is the rule of this world. Nothing stays forever, and that is what gives it beauty. Imagine for a moment if the flowers never withered. We would stop appreciating their fragrance. Imagine if the night never ended. We would never value the light of day. Similarly, if the people we love were always around us, we would stop noticing the preciousness of their presence. It is their absence, their distance, and sometimes their loss that awakens us to how deeply we valued them. Think about your own life. Maybe there was a friend in school or college you thought you could never live without. You shared laughter, secrets, dreams, and tears. And then one day, life happened, careers, marriages, moving to different cities. Slowly, conversations reduced. And today, maybe that friend is just a memory, a contact number you never dial, or an old photograph lying in your drawer. Did they stop mattering? No. But the impermanence of life created that distance. And perhaps that very distance taught you gratitude. That no moment with someone you love should ever be taken for granted. There's a beautiful saying, the only constant in life is change. If we expect life to remain the same, if we expect people to stay forever by our side, we are only preparing ourselves for disappointment. Instead, if we embrace the truth of impermanence, we begin to value every interaction, every conversation, every smile, and even every silence. Take the example of parents. When we are young, we often feel they are strict, they don't understand us, or they are too interfering. But as time passes and we move away from home for studies or jobs, suddenly we realize the warmth of their presence. A simple home-cooked meal, their gentle scolding, their everyday questions. These are treasures we begin to miss. And when one day they are no longer around, we realize impermanence in its most painful form. We can't meet them anymore, not because they chose to leave us, but because life chose it that way. And what remains with us are memories and lessons. Impermanence teaches us to value what we have before it turns into what we had. Another example is relationships. Sometimes, a person we love walks into our life, and it feels like they are the missing piece of our heart. We begin to believe they will stay forever. We build dreams around them. We weave our happiness around their presence. But for reasons we may never fully understand, misunderstandings, priorities, or simply the unfolding of destiny, they walk away. And in that moment, it feels like the end of the world. But if we look closely, even that pain teaches us something profound, that love was never meant to be clinging. That impermanence in relationships teaches us to hold people with open hands, not clenched fists. Impermanence is not meant to scare us, it is meant to awaken us. Think of a sunset. You sit by the sea and watch the golden ball of fire slowly sink into the horizon. For a few minutes, the sky is painted with the most breathtaking shades of red, orange, and pink. You know the moment will not last, but does that make you sad? No. In fact, it makes you more attentive, more grateful, more present. You savor every second because you know it will pass. That is exactly how we must live with people. Every smile, every laugh, every hug should be cherished because life is whispering in our ear. This too shall pass. So, my friends, when you feel the pain of not being able to meet someone you love anymore, don't just focus on the loss. Instead, remember the blessing of having had them in your life at all. They were part of your story, they shaped you, they taught you, and they gave you memories you will carry forever. Impermanence does not mean the end of love. It simply means love changes its form, from presence to memory, from words to silence, from closeness to distance. And yet love remains. That is why we must live with gratitude, forgive quickly, love deeply, and appreciate constantly. Because life's impermanence is not a curse. It is a gift reminding us that every moment is precious, every person is valuable, and every day is a chance to express what our hearts hold. Even in relationships, distance can be an unexpected teacher. When two people love each other deeply but are separated by circumstances, be it career choices, family situations, or even misunderstandings, they begin to realize that the smallest gestures carry enormous weight. A simple good morning message, a quick phone call, or even just knowing that the other person is thinking of them becomes more meaningful than grand celebrations. The separation teaches that love is not about constant physical closeness, but about the silent strength of connection. I once heard a beautiful story about a man who used to live in a small town with his grandmother. Every evening, she would wait for him on the porch with a cup of tea and biscuits. He loved her, but he thought this daily ritual was too ordinary to notice. When he got a job in another country, he left, promising to visit often. But work, life, and responsibilities piled up, and he didn't return for years. One day, when he finally went back, he found the porch empty. His grandmother was gone, and so was the tea ritual. That emptiness pierced his heart in a way he had never imagined. The distance had taught him what presence truly meant. Life has a subtle way of teaching us. It places us in situations where we are forced to step away from people and moments. At first, the distance feels painful. It feels unfair, but in time it reveals a truth. The very things we miss are the treasures we once overlooked. And sometimes the lesson is not only about people, but also about experiences. For example, think about the times you lived in your hometown. Maybe you were eager to leave, to explore bigger opportunities, to go somewhere exciting. But once you left, you realized how deeply comforting your hometown's little things were. The smell of familiar food, the laughter of neighbors, the streets where you walked barefoot as a child. Distance made you cherish what familiarity never allowed you to see. There is also a spiritual angle to this. Distance reminds us to live with gratitude. Imagine eating your mother's cooking every day and complaining about it. But the moment you are far from home, you crave those same dishes with tears in your eyes. The truth is, the food didn't change, your perspective did. And that is the beauty of distance. It doesn't change the value of things, it changes our awareness of their value. Many people think distance only causes pain. But if we shift our vision, we see that it also creates appreciation. When we are forced to be away from someone, we start remembering the smallest details about them. The way they laugh, the way they hold a pen, the phrases they repeat. These little things that we once ignored become priceless gems in our memory. Distance refines our heart to become more grateful, more sensitive, and more loving. But here's the most important part: distance also teaches us to express while we still can. When you realize the value of someone after they are far away, it pushes you to never withhold love when you are close. If distance has taught you gratitude, then closeness must be your chance to express it. Hug your parents a little tighter, tell your friends they matter, appreciate your partner, and never hesitate to say, "Thank you," or "I love you." Because one day, distance will teach you their value again, but by then, it may be too late to express it. So the next time you feel sad because you are far from someone, don't just cry over the separation. Ask yourself, what has this distance taught me about them? What value did I miss when they were around me? Let that realization change you. Let it inspire you to appreciate the ones who are still present, so you won't have to wait for distance to awaken your gratitude. In the end, distance is not our enemy. It is a teacher. It teaches us that love is not about possession, it's about appreciation. It reminds us that life is short, moments are fleeting, and people are treasures. And most importantly, it helps us grow into hearts that value deeply, love openly, and live gratefully. Think of a young boy who grows up with his elder sister always caring for him. She scolds him when he forgets his homework, shares her food with him when he is hungry, and protects him when he feels weak. In the boy's eyes, her constant presence is normal, sometimes even annoying. But when she marries and moves to another city, suddenly the home feels quieter, the dining table feels emptier, and the boy feels a longing he cannot explain. The very scolding that once irritated him becomes something he misses. That pain of absence awakens in him a deeper respect and love for his sister, and he carries that affection much more sincerely into their phone calls and visits. The pain of absence works in the same way with parents and children. When parents watch their children leave home for higher studies, their hearts ache with the emptiness. The room once filled with noise, laughter, and footsteps now lies silent. Every object reminds them of their child. The books on the shelf, the bed left neatly folded, the empty chair at the dinner table. At first, the pain feels unbearable. But with time, the parents realize that the depth of their love for their child is greater than any distance. The absence does not weaken their bond. It strengthens it. It teaches them to cherish every phone call, every video chat, every short visit with more intensity than when the child was always there. In romantic relationships too, absence plays a powerful role. When two people are close, they may argue, disagree, or get caught up in the routine of daily life. Sometimes they even take each other for granted. But when life creates distance, whether it's due to work, misunderstandings, or even temporary separation, suddenly the mind replays every memory. The walks in the park, the late night conversations, the way one partner made tea just the way the other liked. All these little gestures gain immense significance. The pain of not being able to share those moments anymore makes the heart realize that love is not about grand gestures, but about the small, consistent acts of care. The distance does not diminish love. It refines it, purifies it, and makes it deeper. Even in situations where someone passes away, absence leaves behind both pain and wisdom. The pain of not being able to meet them again in this life is heavy, but it awakens a deeper love in us for those who are still here. A person who has lost a loved one often becomes more affectionate, more careful, and more expressive with those who remain. They no longer delay saying, "I care for you," because they know tomorrow is uncertain. Thus, the pain of absence deepens love not just for the one who is gone, but also for the ones who are still present. Daily life offers many small examples of this truth. A student misses the strict teacher who once pushed him to do better, only realizing later that her discipline was actually a form of love. A husband misses the daily nagging of his wife when he has to cook alone after she leaves for a trip. A friend misses the constant phone calls of another after they drift apart. In every example, the same lesson repeats. Absence uncovers the beauty of what we had but could not see. And here lies the hidden blessing. Painful as it may feel, absence deepens the bond between hearts because it forces us to value what truly matters. It teaches us that love is not about physical closeness, but about emotional connection. It shows us that even when someone is far away, the heart can still feel near to them, because real love is not bound by geography. It is bound by memory, by feeling, by soul. What is even more inspiring is that absence often motivates people to change. A child who missed their parents while living away learns to express gratitude more openly when they return. A partner who realized how much they missed small gestures becomes more attentive and affectionate. A friend who lost contact makes more effort to stay in touch with others. In this way, the pain of absence does not only deepen love, it also transforms character. So yes, the absence of those we love hurts. It leaves us restless, sometimes even broken. But within that pain is a powerful truth. It is teaching us to love deeper than before. It is telling us not to waste the time we have with people now. It is reminding us that every smile, every word, every hug is a gift. When we let this pain shape us, it becomes more than sorrow. It becomes a lesson that helps us live a richer, more meaningful, more loving life. In friendships too, silence is often misunderstood. We believe that if a friend doesn't call every day, doesn't message constantly, or doesn't express themselves often, the bond is fading. But true friendship is beyond words. It exists even in the quietness. You may not speak to a friend for months, and when you finally reconnect, it feels as if no time has passed. That ease, that comfort, that natural flow of affection is love expressed without noise. The silence has not weakened the bond. It has preserved it in its purest form. Romantic relationships also carry this lesson. A couple may sit together in a park without speaking, just watching the sunset. No words are exchanged, yet the love is strong. It is not the sentences but the silence between them that says, "I am here with you," and that is enough. When separation happens, maybe through distance or circumstances beyond control, the memory of that silence becomes even more precious. You realize that love is not always in the grand confessions, but in the calm presence of someone who made you feel safe even without speaking. Silence also teaches us about grief and memory. When someone passes away, their silence is eternal. Yet, the love they gave continues to echo in our lives. A father who is no longer here may not speak anymore, but his silence is filled with every lesson he once taught, every sacrifice he made quietly, every moment he worked behind the scenes to provide for his family. His silence is not empty. It is filled with meaning, filled with love that continues to shape his children even after he is gone. The silence of death does not erase love, it amplifies it. It makes us remember, cherish, and honor it more deeply. In daily life, we often overlook the power of silence. A teacher who simply places a hand on a student's shoulder after they fail an exam may say nothing, but that one gesture is filled with encouragement. A friend who sits beside you when you are crying without offering any advice gives you more comfort than 1,000 words. A child who slips their tiny hand into yours without speaking says more about trust and love than any sentence could. These are silences that speak, silences that heal, silences that tell us that love is not always loud, but it is always present. Many times, we misunderstand silence as absence of care. We think, if they loved me, they would say it more often, they would show it more clearly. But the truth is, love takes many forms, and silence is one of its strongest. It is the calm reassurance that you don't need to explain yourself, that you are accepted as you are, and that your presence is enough. People who truly love us often don't need to constantly remind us with words. They show it in their patience, in their willingness to wait, in their comfort with quietness. Even nature reflects this truth. The sun doesn't shout that it is shining, yet it warms us every day. The trees don't announce their growth, yet they quietly give us shade and oxygen. The ocean doesn't declare its strength, yet its silent waves hold immense power. Similarly, true love doesn't always announce itself. It lives in the background, steady, strong, unshaken. When someone we love goes far away, it is often the silence that remains. And in that silence, we learn to feel them more deeply. We hear their laughter in our memories, we recall their advice in our decisions, we sense their presence in our hearts. Their silence becomes a companion, and it teaches us something powerful, that love doesn't need noise to be real. In fact, silence often makes love stronger. Words can sometimes be misunderstood, twisted, or forgotten. But silence, when it comes from love, is pure. It cannot be faked, it cannot be forced. It is simply there, like a quiet bond that connects two souls beyond time, beyond distance, beyond circumstances. So, when we wonder why we cannot meet those we love anymore, and when the silence of their absence weighs on us, we must remember silence itself is proof of love. Because if there was no love, there would be no pain, no memory, no longing. The fact that we feel so deeply in silence shows that the bond is alive. It is invisible, but it is strong. True love does not die with silence, it grows with it. It becomes more profound, more spiritual, more eternal. And once we learn to embrace the silence, we realize that love has never left us. It is simply speaking in a different language, a language beyond words. Many times, we misunderstand silence as absence of care. We think about a young adult who lives with their parents for years. They eat together every day, share the same roof, and often complain about the little things. The food not being to their taste, the advice feeling repetitive, the rules being restrictive. But once that child moves to another city for studies or work, suddenly the absence of those annoying moments becomes unbearable. The food they once criticized is now the comfort they crave. The advice they once ignored now echoes as wisdom in their decisions. The little restrictions, once irritating, now feel like love in disguise. Distance becomes the teacher that makes them realize love was present all along, but they failed to notice. In friendships too, distance holds a powerful lesson. We might have a close friend whom we see every day in school, college, or the workplace. We laugh together, share everything, and assume this rhythm of life will never change. Then, one day, life takes you both in different directions, different jobs, different countries, different lifestyles. Suddenly, the absence of that friend makes you realize how much joy they added to your life. The phone calls you make now are rare, but they carry the weight of all the love you never expressed when they were near. Distance has stripped away the casualness and revealed the depth of the bond. You learn to value the friend not because they are always available, but because they are irreplaceable. Romantic relationships also reveal this truth with striking clarity. When two people are constantly around each other, love often gets tangled in arguments, complaints, and unmet expectations. But when distance enters, the trivial fights fade, and what remains are the memories of love, the longing for presence, and the realization that the small issues never mattered compared to the joy of simply being together. A couple separated by distance learns to treasure every call, every message, every moment of reunion. They discover that love isn't measured by how often they meet, but by how much they value each other despite the miles. Distance purifies the bond, removing the noise and leaving behind the essence of love, respect, patience, and longing. In a way, distance also deepens love because it transforms it from habit into choice. When people are near, we often love them out of convenience. Their presence is easy, natural, expected. But when they are far, staying connected requires effort. We must choose to call, to remember, to keep the bond alive. That choice makes the relationship stronger, proving that it isn't just based on proximity, but on genuine care. Distance reveals who truly values us, who makes the effort to bridge the gap, and who lets the silence grow. Nature itself teaches this lesson. The stars are far away, yet their light reaches us and inspires us. The moon is distant, yet it guides us through the night. The ocean waves travel across thousands of miles before they kiss the shore. Distance does not diminish their beauty. It enhances it. Similarly, love across distance shines even brighter because it must overcome obstacles to be felt. So distance, though painful, is not an enemy of love.